Hi guys, welcome to my February BookTube book wrap up. I just filmed my movie wrap up and I will be uploading that before I upload this. So if you have not seen that after this video, go over there, I'll put the link in the description and check that out. It's my first time doing it, so hopefully it worked out good, but I really enjoyed doing it. So anyway, back to books. I read 9 books this month, I think, but 5 of these were the Percy Jackson books, which I also have done a whole separate video for. So if you have not seen that, I will also put that in the description. Please go check that out as well. It was a lot of fun to put together. I didn't love the whole series, but by the end of the series, I was like, okay, I'm a low-key Percy Jackson stan now. But yeah, I have 4 books to talk about today, and I hope you enjoy. Please leave a like and subscribe if you do, and let's just get into things. So before we start, I want to give a shout out to Final Girls by Riley Sager. I read the first chapter of this, and I did enjoy it. However, I'd also got Elantris out from the library at the same time, and I read the first chapter of Final Girls, and all I could think about was like, I'd rather be reading Elantris right now. And then I put it down and I picked up Elantris, and then by the time I finished Elantris, I just didn't want to read Final Girls anymore. So I definitely probably will try it again in the future, but I don't even count it as a DNF because I only read the first chapter. But yeah, shout out to Final Girls. Hopefully one day I'll try you again. Elantris is Brandon Sanderson's debut novel. It came out in 2005, and in this world, there was once a magical city called Elantris, and the people there had like amazing magical gifts. And then one day they lost all of their magic and became kind of deformed looking. They can never die, they don't need to eat. Every time they feel pain, that pain stays with them forever. So it's really not good to be one of those people. Elantris itself starts to deform and becomes kind of like full of like black sludge. And the book has 3 perspectives. So first you have the prince of the city next door to Elantris, who is Ryothin, I think is how you say it. And he becomes cursed because the curse that affect all the Elantrian people can still affect people today, and then they're thrown into the city. So he becomes cursed, and the king obviously is embarrassed by this and tells everyone that he died. He was about to be married to a woman called Serene. She was from a different kingdom. It was kind of a political marriage, but also like they talked a lot. Like she really did love him. So she arrives in the city, finds out that her husband, who was about to get married in 2 days, has just died. So she is very suspicious and suspects something's up. Then there's a third perspective, and this is the antagonist of the story, who is Hathrun, I think is how you say it. And he is trying to change the religion of all the people in the city next to Elantris, whose name I can't remember. And if he doesn't, then the religion's army will attack the city and basically kill everyone and destroy the city. So out of the 3 perspectives, Ryothin was my favourite. I love world building, I love like fantasy worlds, and being with him in Elantris, seeing what he does there, how he affects the city, learning about the Elantrians of the past and the Elantrians of the present, all of that was just really, really interesting to me, and I really enjoyed his chapters. Serene's chapters was also, I really enjoyed her, but Ryothin's my favourite. However, Hathrun's story wasn't that interesting to me. I felt like it kind of dragged on too long sometimes. Every time I got to one of his chapters, I was like, I didn't love it. Especially, I don't know how to describe it. It just wasn't that interesting to me personally. My only real complaints about this story though are little nitpicky things. So Sanderson likes to repeat words a lot, and it's because he's trying to build up obviously like a culture and like a people and the way they speak and things like that. So in this story, in this book, the words were cousin, colo, and sul, and every single time it said one of those words, I was just like, shut up. Like there's one character, I can't remember his name, a secondary character, who says at least one of those words, sometimes he says colo and sul. And every single sentence, like those, he couldn't stop saying those words, and it was driving me insane. And I noticed this in Mistborn as well. I can't remember what. Oh, in Mistborn, obviously this one's harder to avoid because it's about how the magic works. But every single sentence for a while, I was saying like either push or pull because that's how the magic works in Mistborn. And I feel like because it's how the magic works, I kind of got used to it. But with this, it was just a character's dialect, and I was like, shut up. I was like, just say something different. Also, the characters' names were so hard to remember. I really just struggled to remember. I knew who was who because they all had really distinct personalities, but the actual names, I just could not get the names in my head. And especially there was Ryothin, and then there was one called Ryolin, and my brain just can't handle that. I just couldn't deal with that. Next, I read some short stories and poems by Edgar Allan Poe, who's obviously very, very famous American author, poet. So The Raven was the first one I read, and it was interesting to me, but the entire time, all I could think about in my head was The Simpsons. The entire time I was reading it in Homer Simpson's voice, I was reading it with like him in my head, like the Raven. I could just picture Bart Simpson. Like it was actually it kind of ruined the experience in a way. Like I love the old Simpsons. I've not watched it in years, like the new episodes, but like all I could think about was the Simpsons, and it was actually kind of annoying. I wish I could read this like not Homer Simpson in my head, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was okay. The other poems I read were The Bells, Annabelle Lee, and The Haunted Palace, and these were all okay, but poetry isn't really my thing. I've not really explored it. Maybe I'll find like a great poet who changes my mind. Not that Edgar Allan Poe isn't a great poet. I can't say all these words. But I don't know, they're just not my thing personally. So they were okay for what they were. Like they were okay, like nice, fun, kind of spooky poems, but I didn't love them. And then I read The Telltale Heart. So this is a very short story. In my edition, it's only 6.5 pages, and I don't want to ruin it because it is so short. But it's basically about a man. He kind of goes crazy. So I did really enjoy it, and it gives you a real sense of like growing anxiety because the man in the story, he's getting more anxious and more anxious, and it's like growing, and you really feel that as well. Like there was a really good like tension in this story, but again, all I think about was the Simpsons, and I'm a spoiler. Like the Simpsons didn't reenact Telltale Heart the way that they did for the Raven, but there's an episode where Lisa is made like a, what is it? No, someone else. I don't know. There's an episode that talks about the Telltale Heart anyway, and that was all I could think about. Not to the same extent as the Raven, but it was in my head the entire time. So the Simpsons needs to like just back off. But yeah, I enjoyed his stuff. There's like a lot more stories and a lot more poems in the book that I have, so I will probably explore more of them in the future. So Persuasion is another Jane Austen novel. This was her last novel, and it's published in 1917 after she died, and I thought it was fine. It's about a young woman named Anne who 7 years ago was engaged to be married to a man called Frederick Wentworth, and she is persuaded, hence the name of the novel, to cancel the engagement because he is seen as being beneath her. And then they meet again 7 years later, and the story kind of goes from there. So I just spoke about this in my movie wrap up, but Jane Austen's stories I just don't feel them. I don't know why. I just can't connect to them. I just don't think they're that interesting. And I'm going to keep reading her books until I find one that interests me and like one that I like. Not that I didn't dislike this. I wasn't that invested. I didn't really care that much. So there was far too many characters in this book. That's my main complaint. I could not understand who was who, and because a lot of them are related, they've all got the same surnames, and they've also got titles. So there was like Captain Wentworth, and then his father was like Sir Wentworth, and then I just kept getting like confused who was who. So there was times I was just reading and I was just like kind of assuming who they were talking about. I don't know, I found it kind of hard to keep up track of that. But yeah, it was okay. I know that TB Kane, check out his channel, I'll try and remember and link it. I know that he loved this, and I think he said it was his first Jane Austen novel and he loved it. I preferred Pride and Prejudice over this, but yeah, it was okay. If you like Jane Austen, I'm sure you'll like this, but her storylines and plots just aren't my thing. Lastly, I read Jurassic Park, and I absolutely loved this. I talked about it in my weekly vlog, so I don't normally do this, but I'm going to put that link for that in the description as well, if I remember. I probably won't remember to all these links, but yeah, I talked about it in that. But anyway, I love this so much. So the original Jurassic Park movie and Jurassic World are like two of my all-time favourite movies. Like I just really love them, and I've always wanted to read the book, and the library, it's always taken out. It's really popular. So I finally got it, and it did not disappoint. I swear to God, I flew through this book so fast. So all the best scenes from the movie are there. Like the T-Rex scene was great. It was even better than the movies, I thought. The raptor scene was far more intense in the book as well. Because obviously the book is definitely an adult book, whereas the movie was like kind of a family adventure. So I really enjoyed kind of like the darker aspects, and like there was much more death in this book as well, which that sounds weird, but like, you know, it's a horror book, like you want death. The movie has a much more like a sense of wonder. Like, you know, everyone knows that iconic scene, like they're going to the park to see the dinosaurs for the first time, the music's playing, it's all very like wonderful and like amazing. The book is much more like pessimistic and negative. The characters are very negative straight from the start. They're like, what have you done? Like, this is crazy. And I thought that worked really well for the different types of media. The movie, I completely think it works so good, like having all that wonder. But the book, I thought having this like kind of like more pessimistic, like adult attitude, it really worked well for the media. The opening chapter was one of the best opening chapters that I've ever read. I was hooked straight away. Sorry, I just got like someone's at the door. So yeah, the opening chapter, loved it. We're completely hooked straight away. All the characters were very unique, very distinct. Like you knew exactly who was who, and like what their role was in the story. I just ran up the stairs. Ian Malcolm is the mathematician, and he done a little bit too much talking for my liking. He always spoke about like mathematical theories and like scientific stuff. So when he was like talking, my eyes kind of like skimmed the page a little bit. But other than that, I absolutely loved it. One of my favourite parts as well, it kind of has a multimedia kind of aspect to it. Oh my god, why did I run? There was a lot of different like graphs and like signs and charts and lines of code. Like whenever the characters seen like a sign or something, that was actually the sign was physically in the book, and I thought this just worked really well to like kind of immerse you in it and show you what the characters were seeing, and I just really enjoyed it. I love visual stuff like that. So 100% recommend this book. One of my new favourites of 2020 for sure. And those were all of the books I read in 2020 February. Why did I say it backwards? My mind is going crazy, I swear to God. Obviously Jurassic Park and Elantris, I absolutely loved them. They were like two of my favourites of the year so far. The Percy Jackson books obviously aren't in this video, that's in a different video. Please go check that out. And yeah, I'm glad I tried something new as well with the Edgar Allan Poe. Like short stories and poems isn't something I've really explored so far, so I'm glad that I gave it a try. And I'm definitely gonna like keep reading like some different ones from him, and then maybe some other authors as well, just to like kind of get a feel for that media, because poetry, it's just something I assume I won't like, but I don't know, I think I just need to give it more of a try. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. I know you know all that, and yeah, I will see you in the next one.